guys, I'm live. How you guys doing? I just want to do some road rant. I almost said bed rant. I'm not in bed, I'm walking, so it's a road rant. This loud truck go by. So I've been studying Mormonism, and I'm really into it now. I'm really happy with what I'm studying. Genuinely, I wouldn't be saying I am. I read the first page of the Book of Mormon, which is just called Introduction, one page, and I get it. And a lot of times, maybe this might ask me or something like that, but a lot of times, if I get the first page of a book and I get it, I start reading it faster and faster, and I start catching it on faster and faster. Next thing you know, I'm a monster, and I know the book like as good as anybody. Not, quickly. It's just getting started is the hardest part, For me, I don't know about anybody else, but if I can just get my head around what I'm reading, and then wrap my head around how deep or not the subject matter is, and then just read the first page and really get it on every level that I can think of. The rest is just mechanics. I'll just read it and I'll get it and I'll learn more, but I already get the gist of it, and I already like what I'm reading. And I've got a micro smile on me. I can see it. I'm just happy with what I'm studying. Honestly, I am. But I've only read one page. On the other hand, if you want to look at it that way, I've been going to church. I've gone to church like 10 times, and I've only read one page of the Book of Mormon. So that may seem like, oh my God, he's reading like a tenth of a page per week. But once I get going, it's not linear anymore. I start absorbing things like you wouldn't believe, nobody's business, Because I have the mind to do that. I just have to engage and get past the initial shock of starting. And I like what I'm reading, I like that they have seer stones. Seer, S-E-E-R. A seer is someone who sees beyond the physical, like a prophet. And the stones help. We're not sure how, or wouldn't really be a seer stone. It'd be some other kind of stone we could define a different way. But the seer stone allows the prophet or to interpret the scriptures or translate them, or both. And I'm fascinated by it. I mean, I almost do that already in my own way. I have all kinds of little knickknacks that I don't know why I had, but I collect. I have coins and I have stones and I have lucky pennies I find around town, and I do that kind of thing kind of on my own. So it's not a big leap to see that being used in a context that I'm already using it in myself. I'm not saying I'm on the level of Joseph Smith as far as how he used them, but I get the concept because I kind of do it myself sometimes, a little bit. Objects have energy, and thought and spirituality is energy, and they both affect each other. Spirituality is not divorced from physical matter. It's an interaction. So a seer stone can be just as real for a prophet as a computer is to Bill Gates. What's a computer? It's just a piece of equipment, but he's using it to change the world with Microsoft. What's the difference? And I'm excited. And that's just one detail that I'm into. I like the doctrines. I'm being honest here. I like that they don't use a Trinity per se. It's not like God is schizophrenic and has three parts warring within himself. I like that they don't say that. In fact, the word Trinity is never mentioned in the Bible. It's a completely Catholic doctrine. Trinity is a Catholic doctrine invented by the Council of Nicaea and the Council of Trent and the Council of Constantinople and the Council of in the early, like the early Dark Ages, like 325 and 321 and those kind of years. But that has nothing to do with the Bible, it would be mentioned in the Bible. Trinity, Jesus Christ, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, is never mentioned in the Bible. So which do you believe, a Council of Trent or the Bible? I don't know. I do the Bible probably. There's that I like, and so I like that the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost are separate. They all exist, but they're separate entities. They're not tangled into one, not really comprehensible thing. Because even if the Trinity were a thing, nobody really understands it, because how can you be three people and not be crazy? You know, so that clarifies that problem for me. That the Trinity's always been something that I held against Christianity, because it makes no sense, and even and not only does it not make sense, I don't understand it, even if it supposedly makes sense. So I like that little piece, and I like that human beings are dignified in Mormonism. Human beings are not just divested of spiritual uniqueness and specialness and even power. That Christianity does that to people. They take everything away from you, and they throw it all into Jesus, and Jesus is the only one that can do anything, and you're just a helpless imp. And that's great. That's great for some people, because they don't have to do anything, and they don't have to become anything, and then on top of that, they can feel good, holy, and saved. But I do none of that. I don't feel good being devoid of power and uniqueness. I don't feel saved and righteous of my own, merit and understanding. And so I fall away from that doctrine of that type of sort before I even go into church, practically. But the Mormons don't do that to you. When you share, you're saying your revelation of Jesus Christ. You're saying how you feel. And at that microscopic moment, you're the micro prophet. And that makes you feel included, special, and even loved, if you want to go take it that far. I actually feel like Jesus might love me. And I never felt that in any church before. Why would Jesus love me? He's so great. He's God. He's omnipresent, omniscient, infinite intelligence. Why would he care about me? He shouldn't. I wouldn't. But because we're all included, and Christ is our brother, we can be respected too, and we can have dignity. And I guarantee you, or at least for me, if I feel respect and dignity for myself, I'm going to be a much more powerful spiritual warrior than if I just feel like I'm under Jesus' thumb and I'm just a little ant with nothing in store, nothing to accomplish, and nothing to attain. I'm just going to go, well, let's see ya. I'm out of here. It works for some people. They throw their hands up in the air and holy Jesus. It doesn't help me. I'm still the same person if I do that. But if I progress myself to a spiritual place where I feel empowered and I feel like I've accomplished something, and then I start to feel loved by Jesus. And then I can actually do something for the movement and for Jesus and for the world and for America and for Trump and everybody else. And that's all because of what I'm learning from Mormonism, that's shifting my thought to a more positive direction of Christianity itself. And it's not even their fault. I mean, it's not my fault either. I mean, it's not my fault that I had bad doctrines that blocked me from. It's not my fault that I had bad doctrines blocking me from a logical connection to Christianity. It was a setup from the get-go. I would have never made any more progress than I already had made without the Mormons coming along. That is the progress that I needed, and I was waiting for in some way. And not only that, I feel that Jesus reached out to me, which makes me already feel special, because he must love me or he wouldn't have cared enough to reach out to me. See that? Traditional Christians don't think. I never felt Jesus was calling me in traditional churches. I just felt like I didn't belong there. Why would Jesus call me? Can I go get a drink somewhere? Not alcohol, but, when's the service over? I want to go back on my walk, and then shake off the feeling I had in church. It takes about half as long as a church service to shake off the feeling of church. And then, do I have to go back? I did that twice a week for 17 years growing up. And even put myself through some of it afterward, because I didn't know where else to go to try to learn more. So I have even gone to churches and put myself through that, because I needed to learn what I was learning at that moment. Now I don't have to do that. Now I go to a church where I actually feel love in the church. I actually enjoy the experience. I like the songs. I like the shares. I listen. I'm not trying to impress anybody, but if anybody watches me when some people are sharing, they're going to see I listen. You will see that if you watch me. When someone's sharing, you watch me, you will see that I'm paying attention to what they're saying, that I care. And then when I leave, I still feel the spirit for like an hour or two after the meeting. And I like the feeling. I like it. Okay, that seems to work. What do you think? You know? And I'm just being honest. I like it. I'm just gonna go with it. You know, what would you do? More important, what would Jesus do? You know, Jesus didn't promise that I would have all the answers all the time, especially at the beginning of it. But what I think he does ask is trust and faith to even try and put your foot in the water and try to learn. He doesn't ask, at this point, he's not expecting me to know everything. He shouldn't, he couldn't. But he can expect me to have an open mind and try. And that's what I'm trying to do. There's a line in an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. I don't remember the movie. I should. It's an 80s movie. And someone had gotten in a wreck or something and had a hard time walking. Like they had to rehabilitate just to learn to walk again. And Arnold was the trainer. I mean, that would be a wise choice, don't you think? Have Arnold Schwarzenegger as your trainer. And the guy was trying to walk again. And I have a photographic memory. So I heard this line in 1986 or so, and I remember it to. So here it is. I mean, it might have been 89, something of that order. He says, at one point, he says with that Austrian, sincerity he has. He said, "You don't have to walk, but you have to try like hell." You know. He doesn't expect perfection at this moment, but you have to try like hell to walk anyway. And then that I never forgot that line from 40 years ago. You know, it's like that. Jesus is like that, I think, with me and stuff. You know, you don't have to do this, and this, but you have to try like hell. You know, and I'm trying. I that's one reason I post clips on my channel, because I almost became an actor. I might even still become an actor, and I would embrace that. And I respect the art and the good talent and of writers and directors that can make great art with acting in movies. And movies tell a story that we can learn from ourselves. Art reflects life, life reflects art, something like that. You can be a better person by studying someone that's a good person in a movie. And both as an actor and as a person, both as learning how to act like that person if you're going to become an actor, and be a better person from watching the story that they're acting out. I love you guys. Peace, love, and rock and roll.